Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Law Firm Success Story. Now, one of the things that a lot of lawyers realize when it comes down to making progress in their journey is they're going to have to figure out systems, and sometimes they're going to have to really get into automation. So, I have a guest who is great at that because there are a lot of people who listen to her and want her input and her advice about what she's doing. So, Regina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Now, Regina, the way we usually start these off is we'll talk about what does your firm look like today, and especially for you in the area of automation and systems. And then we'll take a step back and walk through your journey of what did it look like when you started and how did you get to where you are today? So, how does your firm look like today?
Today, I have a very small, streamlined firm. So I just have an office manager who works 31 hours a week, but she pretty much does the work of three paralegals, and I hope she never leaves. And I have a part-time assistant, which is actually her daughter. So I'm trained her as a legal assistant, and she works about 15 to 20 hours a week. And that's it. It's just me. So I've had a much larger firm before. There's a million reasons why I failed ridiculously at that. But I really do love doing legal work. So there's plenty of attorneys that kind of want to be the CEO of their firm and have other attorneys do the work. I may get to that place someday. Right now, I just really love doing the legal work. So I like having the small firm, but that's why we need systems to help automate and get things done, because I don't want to do a lot of the administrative busy work that really can do itself, particularly since I'm flat fee, which makes me unique in family law litigation. So we're a really small firm. We definitely rely on tech and automations and systems and workflows to move things along in the system quickly and push information out to our clients quickly, which I really think they appreciate.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty amazing because you don't really hear too many lawyers being very comfortable accepting the fact that, hey, you know what? Here's what I want my firm to look like. Because I'm curious for you, like, how did you get to that point of just accepting the fact that, you know what? I really don't want a big law firm at this point. What was that like for you?
Oh gosh, I felt like I was running a daycare. I guess at my peak, I only had about 10 employees, but it would get so clicky. And I just really didn't want to deal with drama. And I will fully admit I'm probably not a great manager because I'm not a huge people person. I don't really like, I'm not extroverted. I don't really like being in the office and dealing with it. I would just, can y'all just figure this out? So I'll admit, maybe it's my personality type. I just wasn't good at managing all of those people and all of those issues. And it would just frustrate me to no end when I'd be in court trying to try a case and someone would email me that their printer didn't work. Like, we have 8 printers in the office. Can you not troubleshoot that yourself or like walk 10 steps to another printer? So I'm sure that there's a structure or a way that I could have made that work. I'll be the first to admit I never figured it out. In 2015, when it just got to be a lot, I just said, we're just going to burn everything to the ground. And at the time, my associate, who was fantastic, was thinking about moving on to a bigger firm. So I just took the opportunity to just say, I'm just going to scale all the way back to next to nothing and then rebuild my firm from there. And I'm so glad that I did.
I love that because a lot of people that I've talked to would think about if their firm shrunk, they would see it as we're moving in the wrong direction or this
Yep.
this isn't what success looks like. So I love the fact that you figured that out. Now, you also mentioned that process of like, figuring out systems and even implementing automation. So that's not something that every lawyer learns in law school. So how did you start learning and figuring
We
that piece
learned
out?
none of the things in law school. So I went to Tulane, which is a great school. I learned a lot of law, but I didn't learn how to be a lawyer. So I have a lot of friends that either went to Georgia State or teach at Georgia State. And Georgia State is a fantastic law school because they teach you how to be a lawyer. They have actual practical classes on being a lawyer, how to deal with clients, all of those things. And Georgia State used to be considered second tier to UGA, Emory, in terms of prestige, et cetera, or whatever. It definitely costs a lot less, but their bar passage rate with rivals those more expensive schools. Anyway, long story short, I wish more law schools did that because they are actually teaching lawyers how to be lawyers. And I had to learn on the fly, and that is not recommended. Thankfully, no clients were harmed in this process. I really wish law schools taught it more. And I've had to teach myself. And then over the years, I just read a bunch of books, did some CLEs. but there just weren't a lot of people in that space, in that coaching space of how to use systems, et cetera, when I first started. So I started my own firm in 2005. So there just weren't a lot of resources out there. And obviously, since I've gone along, there have been a lot more, and hopefully I can be a resource for somebody else. But people do sometimes look at it as going backwards if you scale down. I didn't look at it that way. I looked at it as this is just what works for me. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to scale up if you have the personality and the drive and all of that to do that and you're happy doing it. Absolutely go for it. A lot of my friends have done that and they own very large firms and they're very successful doing it and they like doing it. That's just not my journey. It took a while for me to figure that out. I was trying to compete with the larger firms and have a huge fancy office and the staff and all of that. And I just really was just working myself into the ground. And I always say this to people, the brokest I ever was when I made 2 million a year. I was broke. I'd always say money did not go into my bank account. It went through it. And I'm sure there were some things that I was doing wrong. I 100% will admit that. I just didn't like the stress of playing in the big league, so to speak. The stakes were a little too high. I felt like I was on a treadmill that was going a little too fast. The stakes are lower where I am, and I'm happy with that. I take home more, but if I have a couple of bad months, that's not disaster. If your overhead is 70, 80 grand a month and you have a couple of bad months in a row, you can get off track really quickly and end in disaster. Now I can take 3-4 months off and it really doesn't move the needle a lot because the risks are lower. That means the rewards are lower too. People have different tolerances and I probably am never going to be exceedingly wealthy and I'm okay with that.
Awesome. I love how everyone just really finds their lane that they want to run in and they just enjoy running in that lane
Mm-hmm.
and all the joy that comes with that. So I also want to talk a little bit before we wrap up about Lawyers on the Beach, an amazing community that when I go to conferences, I hear people talk about Lawyers on the Beach. When I meet with different lawyers, I hear them talking about, I see the posts. So tell us a little bit about the Lawyers on the Beach community, just the awesome things that you're doing there and just how that came about.
So Lawyer on the Beach started in 2019 in the fall, where I was a member of other Facebook groups and they messaged me about how I was able to run a law firm in Georgia after I'd moved to Arizona and things about my systems, flat fees, et cetera. So I just created a group to answer those questions. And when people, it was like 5. So I thought, okay, it's going to be a cute little group of a couple hundred people and we'll share ideas, et cetera. And that is definitely how it started. And I was remote. My paralegal's been remote. I call her Snuffleupagus because some people don't believe that she exists, but I promise she does. But obviously COVID hit in March of 2020. And then a lot of attorneys that had never considered virtual lawyering, all of a sudden, oh goodness, I need to figure this out in a short amount of time. So the group really exploded from there. We've got 13,000 members. So really the focus of the group is we talk about legal tech and flat fees and streamlining things, but also I try to focus on life work balance. I think attorneys have the second highest rate of suicide out of any profession. We're below dentists. That's it. And it shouldn't be like that. This should be our job. It shouldn't be our life. We shouldn't lose our lives for our profession. So that's what we promote. So we just share ideas. And honestly, I've learned so much from the group. All of the systems that I've used, almost all the systems that I've used, I've learned from other people in the group recommending them to me. So it's been amazing. So I'm super happy about the way our firm can be efficient. We strive for efficiency. And I think people look at systems and automation and they think it's impersonal. Everybody uses systems. It's just a matter of how much you're using them. No one is using pen and paper for everything. So everyone's got some level of systems. We just try to kick it up a notch to where we're automatically giving updates to our clients, not overwhelming them, but just giving them so much information about the status and the progress of their case that they don't feel necessary to ask what the status is because they already know. So that is our niche and our selling point with our firm. And that's a lot of the things that we talk about on the group as well. So we're trying to create a community of like-minded attorneys where we're trying to provide good legal services to our clients, but we're not trying to die doing it. We want to be able to have a life outside of the office. And the beach thing is obviously is just a metaphor. I think sometimes people take it a little bit too literally. And I actually don't even like the beach because I don't like dirt. But I like being at the ocean, looking at the ocean from the comfort of my balcony where there are snacks. But the point is, whatever your beach is, and you may be at the point of your career where your beach is, I want to be able to stop work at 3 so I can take my kid to soccer practice. That's fine. Everyone's going to have different levels. There are some people that are literally on a yacht traveling around the world while they lawyer. I'm not there either. I'm somewhere in the middle. Everyone has their own beach that you can find and create a firm that meets your lifestyle needs instead of the other way around. And that's just what we're trying to encourage.
Awesome. I love it. Regina, thank you so much for coming on. Always great to share some more success stories and just hearing how people are figuring out how to run in their own lane. So thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Law Firm Success Story, sponsored by the T.L. Turner Group, where we focus on making accounting and finance simple so that you can focus on more success for your law firm. Follow us online and visit us at tlturnergroup.com/law firm success to see more episodes of the Law Firm Success Story.